What is up, guys? Moses here, bringing you another build guide, and today it's going to be all about Tectonic Slam. It's a skill I never really got to play. They released it a couple of leagues ago, and this time around, with the changes to Chieftain, decided to test it out. So let's go over the skill. Basically, it's pretty simple. You're going to slam the ground. That's multi-strike right there. You're gonna slam the ground, and whenever you have endurance charges up, you got 35% chance to consume an endurance charge to create a charge slam. Charge slams are bigger and will deal 60% more damage, which is pretty huge. Alright, the skill will also convert 60% of our physical to fire damage, and as such, I decided to go with the Chieftain because we get an easy way of converting our damage to fire, um, and other things that are working pretty well with this particular skill. And also, I never really got to play Chieftain. It seems to fit just right for the build. So let's talk about the Ascendancy. We got this Ascendancy node that generates our endurance charges. Um, the first Ascendancy is actually the conversion. It also gives 100% of physical as extra fire for 4 seconds every 10 seconds. So it's pretty massive. If you look at the tooltip, if you wait a couple of seconds, you see it jumps up to like 160, 130, whatever, depends on the buffs that I have on. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Um, Also, I decided to go with melee splash. So yeah, I guess that's why it went down. Yeah, it's like 160-ish with pulverize. Either way, Hinekora is the second Ascendancy node. It takes care of our leech and gives us a chance to cover a rare or unique enemy in Ash for 10 seconds on hit. Ash makes it take 20% increased fire damage taken, which ends up being a 20% more multiplier. 10% increased strength, of course, very nice for life and more physical damage. And yeah, here we got the endurance charges. The fourth Ascendancy node is a big deal. It's either I'm going to pick up this for 3% more damage for each endurance charge lost recently, and um, basic up to 15%. We're getting some endurance charge duration. This baby node is kind of useless because life regen is kind of irrelevant and endurance charge duration not so great. So the baby nodes here could have been much better. But yeah, you are getting that endurance charge duration there. But the second one that I'm debating is Tessalio. This one gives us 100% or 100 to fire res, 2% life regen, and what I really like about it is the next two lines of 10% physical damage taken as fire and 50% increased life recovery rate. And life recovery rate is like overall. Life recovery is from all sources. It's flasks, it's regen, it's leech, right? So life on hit, whatever source of life recovery that you have. So this is incredibly strong if you've taken fire damage from an enemy hit recently. And since every enemy hit that is physical is 10% out of which is taken as fire, you're always getting that 50% increased life recovery, which is pretty strong overall. Like pretty insane. Unaffected by ignite, a nice little bonus right there, right? Ignite immunity is always good, and of course 100% fire is pretty strong. So I'm really seriously debating whether I should get another just 15% more or a huge defensive bonus for this ascendancy. I'm seriously considering to just take this and then modify my resistances, because right now, yeah, I'm going to have 100% more fire res, so we could probably get rid of this. It has a bunch of fire res um, that we won't be needing, and we could roll maybe a steel ring that doesn't need too many resistances. I believe I have some steel rings for, yeah, for bait for crafting. So something like this, we could get a bunch of physical damage to attacks here, mental damage, get some life, and maybe if we need a little bit of cold res, mental damage. Yeah, So this could be very, very good overall. Because again, you're not getting like permanent 15%. You're getting lost recently up to 15%, and plus one max endurance charges. Like you're hardly ever in a situation where you have even 3 endurance charges in this build, because you're consistently losing them for the charged, the charged slam with the 60% more damage, right? So I don't know if this is a particularly good node for this build. Yeah, the more I talk about it, I think I just convinced myself to go with this. It just makes a lot of sense. It's super defensive. Gonna feel pretty good, I'm sure. Yeah, alright, so we covered that thing. Let's go over the links. Right now, I'm using Tectonic Slam with LA damage with attacks. Fortify was changed. It now gives a big more multiplier. At level 17, it's 32. So 35%, I guess, at level 20. And of course, the fortified buff, which makes it permanent for us. So I think it's a pretty solid, viable gem to have for pretty much every melee build out there. Melee physical damage, multi-strike, and I was using Pulverize. I just decided to try some melee splash because it was also changed, it was buffed, and it should do very well for clearing. You could also replace like with Ruthless or whatnot for single target. I haven't really gotten the chance to test too much. The character is pretty fresh, only level 76. Just basically made it to maps, and last 10 levels, it's like a breeze. You pretty much level up every map. So yeah, just getting used to the playstyle, to the character, and all that. So this is kind of like an introduction video. We'll make another follow-up later on. Other gems we have Ancestral Protector, just because we really want the attack speed, and it does provide us with that. This is just some gems I'm leveling. We do have our Leap Slam with faster attacks, Endurance Charge on melee stun and blood magic. Leap Slam now always stuns enemies on full life. Right? Damaging hits always stun enemies that are on full life. So whenever you're leaping, you're always going to be generating endurance charges, because you always stun, because they always have full life. So that's a nice, easy way of generating our endurance charges instantly. So we can start slamming them once we leaped, and with a chance of getting even more damage from the charged slam, right? So that is a nice 4-link setup there. Reservation, I'm using War Banner. War Banner pretty much for the, additional accuracy or whatnot, but mostly for the adrenaline when we drop it on the ground after 50 enemies or, accumulate. You collect souls after 50 enemies, you get that adrenaline, for a short burst of attack speed and damage and all that. So that's our one thing. Also, we got Precision. Precision is a new aura that they added to the game. I currently only have a level 1. I could increase it, but it's mainly there because I actually found one, Watcher's Eyes, that makes increased attack damage while affected by precision. So we are getting quite a lot of DPS off of it, so 86k, and then it's gonna go into 92k. So yeah, definitely worthwhile using while affected by precision. A little bit of life there. So it's just a level 1, and it only reserves 22 mana, so it's like unnoticeable basically. So this is precision right there. And yeah, Blood Rage goes without saying. That's how we generate our frenzy charges. And we have a cast when damage taken setup with Immortal Call and Feeble for damage, elemental damage, and phys damage reduction. Feeble to make monsters deal less damage, and Wave of Conviction, since we're converting most of our damage to fire as Chieftain. This will make sure that our Wave of Conviction will actually deal almost all fire damage. so that makes enemies get the elemental exposure, so that's negative 25 resist to fire whenever I get hit. That procs, right? So that's the cast when damage taken setup here. And over here I just got some more reservation. Herald of Ash, of course, physical is extra fire. And then the overkill burn damage to nearby enemies that spreads. Blood and Sand is another new aura. It only reserves 10%, excuse me, of our mana, but it gives basically blood stance and sand stance, less area damage, but more area of effect versus more area damage, less area of effect. Right, at the moment I have it on blood stance, which basically means I always deal more area damage, and I have slightly smaller area of effect with all my AoE skills. Of course, it's attacks, it doesn't apply to spells. Herald of Ash, and I got an Arctic armor here for less physical damage, less fire damage when hit. This is basically, I believe, everything. When it comes to the gear, I'm using swords. SSF, right? So self-found, so this is just a temple sword that I found. Nothing too insane. The attack speed is pretty low. It's not a crit build, so I didn't spec into some crit nodes. The build can definitely be a whole lot better if it was a trade league. You could multi-mod yourself, double foils and all that kind of stuff. I still, haven't gotten around to do it. I could, but, haven't gotten around to do it. We're going to start off with these swords and see what we could do later on. This basically is just a nice temple sword, nothing too insane here. And we have An's Might on our offhand. Again, it does give us the negative frenzy charge, but it's the best, sword that I have for dual wielding. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good with it overall. The rings, just life resists, some crafted elemental damage with attacks. Over here, just life, a little bit of resist, some accuracy, some attributes, some flat fizz. This is fossil scorched crafted helmet, the best one I crafted. It's not too great, just 76 life roll with 24 crafted, but it does have the nearby enemies have negative fire res, so it's pretty good. So that's why we're using it. I was trying to get it on an Elder base, so that potentially I could get the area damage mod that you can get from the hybrid, but instead I got the burning damage. There's a whole lot of minion damage. There's also the concentrated effect. It also gives you a hybrid area damage. So that's why I was trying to, go for it with some fossils. Thinking back, perhaps it was a mistake. Because it triggers all sorts of elder mods that you don't necessarily want, and I am SSF, and I only had like 12 or 15 scorched fossils, so perhaps it was a mistake, but I was committed. That's what I end up getting. I was hoping maybe we can get something nice, but yeah, we'll farm. Perhaps we'll get something better later on. The body armor, pristine fossil crafted, Dapper Prodigy set. I got, the item level 100 6-link body armor. You can farm these divination cards in Residence map. And you can find them everywhere, from Legion and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really do any focus farming here, but I was missing one, and when I realized I just missed one, I went and I did several Residents until I dropped the last one. I got it, right? So this is the body armor. We just have lots of life, some resists here, nothing too insane. The gear is very basic, there's really nothing crazy happening here. And the character is nothing too crazy either. I mean, it plays very nice, very smooth. The damage seems pretty solid. I haven't gotten into red maps yet. But yeah, that's what we have at the moment, right? So we got some spike gloves with the melee bonus damage, just crafted with alterations and regals. Some life, some cold res, some attack speed, and some fire damage to attacks. The boots, again, nothing too crazy, just life resists. The belt I tried crafting with fossils, life rolled, life didn't roll, but I crafted life. It's really low value, but the resistances are really nice, and I did get the additional increased fire damage mod, um, and some, alteration regal crafted jewel with some sword damage, fire and physical sword damage here. So this is basically the gear. This is basically all there is to talk about the character. Flasks, some staunching for the bleed. A serious promise. Since I'm not using Avatar Fire, I can actually where is it here? Since I'm not using it, right? Because I'm Chieftain, I get the conversion off of Chieftain. I could get some extra cast damage, so I don't need to use Avatar Fire in this build. So I'm not using Zoth Amulet. So I could use a serious promise because I'm getting a whole bunch of, chaos damage off of it. You can see the tooltip here. It's actually quite substantial amount of cast damage while the flask is active. Because you get that physical as extra cast, and then you get that elemental as extra cast. So it's a huge amount of extra damage as chaos while our flask is on, that we could make use of because no Avatar Fire. So, and of course the cast res. Onslaught from the flask, just movement speed at the moment, but probably I'm going to use something different, not entirely sure. Maybe a basalt flask, maybe jade or granite. Actually I do have granite, but maybe basalt or jade. And I got Rumi's concoction for additional defenses, gives us some armor, and gives us some chance to block. Currently, these are the only flasks I could use. Unfortunately, this Lion's Roar is only more melee physical, so this is not a physical build, it's pure elemental, so I cannot use Lion's Roar. But yeah, that works. So yeah, this is it. Let's get into a map. Let's get into a different map. Let's reroll it. That seems good. Extra fire damage. It's not the best one, but it is the next one here because I'm trying to get to Elder. First Elder spawn, trying to make it a yellow Elder, trying to see some single target happening. At the moment, I'm using Pulverize. I will try Melee Splash just for the first time, because it's supposed to be very, very good after the changes. Alright, that was a prophecy. And I'm also leveling up Combustion. Perhaps we're going to end up using Combustion instead, because Combustion does give the... Oh wow, Melee Splash actually feels very smooth. Should have done it much earlier through leveling. Yeah. You get all these like overlapping area happening. Let me remove the Herald effect. All the prophecies are proccing. Sin. Let me remove it so we could see what's actually going on. I really do need a couple more, like, in 10 more levels, this character is going to feel a lot better. I'm going to get so much more attack speed off of it. So it's just going to feel completely different. Just leveled up once. Drop the banner here. Yeah, I mean, we are still pretty weak. There's still a lot to level up. There's still lots to do in terms of like building this character, and we are just level 70, well, just now 7, so. But I mean, Tectonic Slam really does, leveling was really smooth. I found a pair of, what's the name of that? Uh-oh. We are in trouble. Let's leap. Get ourselves some Flascaronis. All that poison. Oh, please. Yeah, I found a pair of what's it called, these boots. 7 League Step. Yeah, I actually managed to somehow get Perandus Manor off of a Legion monster. Drops like it was an otherworldly incubate, I think. The one that drops maps, and I got the like incredibly lucky drop of Perandus Manor in SSF. So that felt good. And the Perandus chest there got me the you know, good old 7 League Steps, so it was like an incredible like leveling. It was super fast. Cobalt Jewel. I would actually be shocked if I got a clear mine. I've been trying to get one with the Glacial Cascade Miner. This is the second build of the league for me. I've been slacking, but we still got 2.5 more months for this league. And this opens our melee factory. From this point on, the plan at least is to make just a bunch of melee builds until I'm sick of melee. Because, yeah, I was never really too much of a melee fan, but with the revamp, you know, bunch of changes, it is time to give melee, you know, second opportunity, second look, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, Tectonic Slam is the opener, and it feels pretty good. And this was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the stream. I believe we are getting Brutal Blade. Yeah, I need that attack speed, man. I really, really do. That attack speed is actually very important. Block while dual wielding. That's also a pretty nice defensive bonus there. And increase damage with swords. Yup. When it comes to the tree, I will get, you know, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 probably, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8. So in 8 more levels, level 85, we're going to have a whole lot more damage, whole lot more area damage, and that's level 85. And then probably ambidexterity over here. So there's still lots to get to. There's still plenty of really good nodes that are just nearby, and level 77 is very, very early. So we'll definitely take the increased damage and attack speed here with the life node. These are easy 2 points in the next 2 levels, and this cluster is really huge for our elemental damage. There's also honed edge right here, sword damage and accuracy, attack speed and accuracy, and attack speed here, and increased damage with swords. Probably going to be very strong for us. That will be around level 88. Ambidexterity around level, you know, 91, 92. And then we can get into some more life nodes. There's plenty of those. We could also get into Soul of Steel +1 to all max res, or to max all res. This is a very strong node, but I don't know if it's worth, you know, 4 more points essentially. I don't know, still making decisions. I do enjoy the new Fortify Rampart cluster, right? And this didn't exist. Brinkmanship, basically just area damage from melee skills and some damage, right? Increased area of effect and area damage. Nice little cluster that fits our build nicely. Blade Dancer, I'm not sure this existed at all. And when it comes to the leech, we have our fire, right? Here. 1% leech's life, and 1 node for the mana leech. They moved it. I believe it used to be here somewhere. I'm not sure. Maybe here. They put the channeling. They changed the entire tree. The entire bottom side of the tree looks completely different right now. So yeah, this was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys around. Bye bye.